This is Rising Up at Sonali, and I'm your host, Sonali Kolhatkar. You can watch this program on Free Speech TV and listen to it on community and independent radio stations nationwide. Haitian authorities have arrested a doctor suspected of carrying out a brutal attack that left Mr. Möise fatally riddled with bullets and his wife Martine seriously injured. About 24 Colombians have also been arrested in connection to the incident. Sanon was reportedly an informant for the U.S. Drug Enforcement Agency, although the U.S. has denied any involvement. Senate President Claude Joseph has been named interim prime minister and requested that the U.S. send troops to assist the nation, but so far the Biden administration has demurred, preferring instead to send a team of investigators. My guest is Jemima Pierre. She is the Haitian Americans coordinator for the Black Alliance for Peace. Welcome to the program, Jemima.
Thanks so much for having me. Happy to be here.
So right away, when the news first came out of this shocking incident, the Guardian newspaper and some other publications were saying that witnesses heard the assassins yelling DEA, US DEA, and that there were men with American accents. The mainstream press in the US didn't quite report that, although now they're saying that that was an attempt to implicate the DEA. What do you know about what the US's potential involvement is, understanding that, of course, this is very much an unfolding story?
Yes, it's an unfolding story, but the U.S. is all over Haiti. The U.S. has been all over Haiti. And as I keep saying, nothing happens in Haiti without the knowledge, support, political, as well as media, as well as money. Nothing happens in Haiti without the U.S., the UN, the core group, and the OAS. Nothing happens in Haiti without them knowing. And so one of the things that's really fascinating about this developing story, which changes by day, first was Colombian mercenaries, now it's Haitian Americans and this doctor being arrested. One of the things we have to keep in mind is that the details of this story actually hides the long-term and ongoing US and UN and OAS control of Haiti. So what's fascinating about the story is that the Leon Charles, who's in charge of the investigation, was actually handpicked and put in place in consultation with the U.S. government, the UN force, the UN office that's still controlling Haiti. And Leon Charles itself has a terrible history because he was in charge of the police right after the U.S. Canada France back ouster of Aristide, where he led multiple massacres of Haitian people who were protesting the ouster of Aristide. So we have to actually take everything that comes out of Haiti, especially as it is being controlled by a very specific group of people, and the mainstream media, who's actually its goal is to actually really affirm the fact that Haitian people are crazy and there's so much going on. There's a racist view of Haiti as things like going out of control. We have to also understand that the people who control Haiti are the core group, the United Nations and the U.S. State Department. And so once we get into the details of this assassination, we forget that the machinations that are happening behind the scenes are the same machinations that actually brought Moise to power, that brought Leon Charles to power, that brought all these entities into power. And I also have, I'm just one quick thing. Mm-hmm. Most people in Haiti don't believe the narrative, the current narrative, because everyone thinks it's an inside job, that there's a coup d'etat within the PTSK Moise party, and that these people who are brought in and put in place by the U.S. State Department are using the U.S. media, but they're using all of this to provide cover for an inside job.
So unlike the coup that removed Aristide from power, Jovenel Möise was not a left-leaning president of the people. He, in fact, was facing massive grassroots dissent and among Haitians in an increasingly unstable nation. He was not very popular, but the timing of his assassination is also extremely curious, right? The day before he was assassinated, he named a new prime minister. And now, because of the timing, because that prime minister wasn't seated, didn't have time to be formally seated, because there's not there's a lot of chaos within the Senate, the Haitian Senate. It seemed as though the timing was sort of perfectly set up to create a power vacuum. Either that or it's just incredibly unfortunate timing. But as you suggested, this just seems like too much of a coincidence.
It is. And part of it, Moise, of course, as you say, had never had a clear mandate to govern. And we have to go back to the fact that Moise was handpicked by Michel Martelly, who started the political party, the PTHK, the Tête Calais party. Now, Michel Martelly was actually forced onto the Haitian people by Hillary Clinton and the Obama administration in 2011, where there's elections where he did not even make the first. He did not make this in the early voting, and the U.S. government forced him to be in the second round, and the OAS oversaw these elections that brought him into power, where he had very few votes and himself did not have a mandate. And so Moise and his handpicked, I think, as a placeholder for Martelly and this party to continue the job that the U.S. government wants, right, which is like the remaking of, bringing back the Haitian military, but also following all U.S. right-wing policies in Latin America, especially its withdrawal of support from Maduro and the Venezuela government, and the crazy acceptance of Juan Guaido. That's what Moise did. Moise has done everything that the U.S. government has wanted it to do. And Moise's term has been racked by protests, as you see, by embezzlement, by corruption, by violence, and then, a week before Moise's assassination, there was a massacre in Delma 32, overnight, of 19 people shot, including a very well-known young Haitian activist and a newspaper columnist. And so all this violence had been happening under Moise with these gangs. The U.S. really stayed silent because they supported him. And the thing is, Moise's term, as Haitians will tell you, ended February 7, 2021. And the only reason he stayed in power was because the UN and the international community supported him. Now, about this new so-called president, Haitians don't necessarily accept him either, because he was an interim prime minister, which was handpicked by Moise. And so Moise had been ruling by decree. So there are no elected officials in his organization. So for this guy, Claude Joseph, to name himself president, and then this is where you have the duplicity of the international community, because a day after, Helen Lalim, the UN representative in Haiti, affirmed that Claude Joseph would be the president of Haiti until elections. Now, who are these international community people to make this decision for Haitians without any consultation with Haitian people? So my thing is, Moise was a bad despot, but we also have to we have to look broader to all the imperial machinations that are happening in Haiti. And all of this, the idea of intervention in Haiti is laughable, because Haiti's under foreign occupation already since 2004. The U.S. is already deeply implicated in all the institutions of Haiti. The UN, they're the ones that make the decision, and now they're controlling the narrative around the investigation of the assassination. And we should be very concerned about what's developing right now.
So just to be clear, and it's a little confusing, so Claude Joseph was the prime minister.
Appointed
prime minister, right. And then Jovenel Möise appointed Ariel Henry,
right.
But before he could be seated, Moise is assassinated, and Claude Joseph then assumes the presidency. Like many other nations in the world, but unlike the U.S., Haiti has both a president and a prime minister.
Exactly.
So now Claude Joseph went from appointed prime minister to self-appointed interim president.
Mm-hmm. But and then claim state of siege, which is martial law, which is,
and is requesting U.S. troops.
Right. And so that tells you, part of that is, I think they want the U.S. troops or the U.S. present there to cover, that's what Haitians believe, to cover what is effectively a coup d'etat. And there's been a recent document by a lot of members of the Haitian civil society that actually says this is a coup, and that the U.S. government, the international community, is providing cover by affirming that this Claude Joseph, who was appointed by a de facto president, so by affirming this guy who was appointed by a de facto president as president, they are participating in this ongoing coup. And so this is an ongoing intervention that we always have to keep in mind, because it wouldn't be just new intervention, it would just be an extension of an intervention that's been ongoing since 2004.
So where does this leave the person that was named prime minister, Ariel Henry, I believe is his name, and who is he? And also, right. Essentially, it sounds as though it's not clear who's in charge right now.
Well, who's in charge is the international community. Let's be real. I mean, we have to, Haiti's sovereignty has been snuffed out since 2004, and so we have to be real about that. Ariel Henry. So all these entities, all these figures playing in this, in this emerging, craziness around Haiti are all right-wing U.S. supported people. So Ariel Henry was part of the group that really pushed for the oust of Aristide, and he worked in the so-called Council of Sages that the UN put together once they invaded and occupied Haiti in 2004. So he was already working with the international community. So they all know him very well, including this doctor that was, supposedly the mastermind. He is a very well-known operative in the Republican National Committee. And so, these are well-known entities to the DEA, to the FBI, and the CIA. So part of that we have to understand. For me, it seems to me like this is an affirmation of U.S. control and UN control of Haitian politics. And we have to be very careful about falling into the traps of the details of this and not calling out the ongoing imperial meddling that's going on in Haiti.
What about these Haitian Americans that were reportedly involved and are being arrested? I mentioned a Dr. Christian Sanon. There's a video of him a few years ago that he, appeared to have some interest in Haiti's political situation as it possible. And now we know that he, at one point at least, was an informant for the U.S. DEA, although the DEA is saying that he was not on their payroll. What do you know about that?
Well, I don't know much about it except that all of these entities are linked to the U.S. one way or another, right? And so we have to know these informants, there are a number of informants. And so the Claude Joseph, for example, and that's one thing we have to remember, he was funded by the National Endowment for Democracy as a so-called student group against the Aristide. Back in 2000, he was a student. And then he came to the US and completed his PhD at a university in New York. So these people have been within the US,
the orbit,
soft
if you will.
power orbit for a long time. All of these people know each other. The U.S. knows all of them, which is why we have to keep the discussion about both what's going on in Haiti, because what's going to happen is the people who are going to suffer, especially under this state of siege. If people try to protest, they're going to be mowed down the same way they were under Leon Charles, who we have to be worried about, who was brought in late, after he was kicked out of Haiti in 2006 for all his human rights abuses, brought in again with the support of the U.S. back in the fall to take over the Haitian police. And so we have to worry about the people, but we also have to think about this drama that is unfolding very much has all of its connections to one place, and that's the U.S. government. And then you have the OAS and the United Nations giving cover for all of that.
What about the fact that the Biden administration seems fairly reluctant to send troops? They want to send investigators. Even if the U.S. was involved, is it possible that this may be the result of long-term U.S. meddling and involvement where they've empowered proxy actors that have now sort of taken it upon themselves to do this now? And maybe the Biden administration is sort of like, we're not sure how much we want to get involved overtly just yet.
And that's the key point, right? Because they did come back and say they're not ready to send any troops just yet. And so now if the narrative turns and people do start protesting and don't accept this narrative that these Haitian Americans caused a coup d'etat, when you have a president's body riddled with bullets and none of his security is killed, nobody is shot except for him and his wife. Haitian people don't buy it, right? And so if this doesn't work, if the people that they're supporting, the Claude Joseph, the Leon Charles, the people who are investigating themselves, basically, if this doesn't stick, then the U.S. will use the repression against Haitian protests as a pretext to send troops. But we have to be clear that the U.S. is already there. And we have to also remember that the NYPD trained Haitian police. I don't know if you all remember this. This is back, in 2014, there was a news report about this. So the FBI, having the FBI there is actually having the same people who've been behind this craziness in Haiti investigate themselves.
It's remarkable looking at the U.S. media coverage of the assassination and seeing so little of the context of U.S. involvement, so little historical framing of how the U.S. is involved historically in interfering with Haiti through the UN and even the UN's involvement, the UN's very, very problematic involvement. You aren't seeing any of that in, say, the New York Times or the Washington Post or the Wall Street Journal.
Exactly. And so part of that is that's the point, right? So the narrative is because Haiti is seen as a basket case, Haiti is always seen as a basket case because there's a racist narrative around Haiti, right? You can't get any report without, the line, Haiti is the poorest nation in the hemisphere, right? And so there's always this narrative of Haiti as a basket case. And I have to point out that the last time there was a political assassination in Haiti was in 1915, and then the US invaded and occupied Haiti for 19 years until 1934. And even then, back then in 1915, Haiti was being presented as a basket case, as these Black people who cannot rule themselves. And so this narrative fits right into the way that the New York Times and the mainstream media has always reported on Haiti, as these crazy Black Haitians who don't know how to take care of themselves and who always need outside intervention. And so I always want to fight against that. And I'm glad we're having this discussion because this fits, and so because the media already feels this way about Haiti, it makes it easy then to buy this narrative of inter-Haitian situations, that's behind this assassination, and leaves out the imperial machinations.
The U.S. government, in response to the concern that Mr. Möise was overstaying his term, simply said, well, there needs to be elections at some point this year, as if just democracy is all about just having an election. And of course, there is, just like there is in every other country in the world, in Haiti, there is an actual grassroots desire for and thirst for democracy. So what would a grassroots response to what is happening right now look like if you were to, want to point people in the direction of those forces that are not getting mainstream coverage? How is civil society responding? Do they have the power to respond when the international community vis-a-vis the US and the UN are so involved, and they're the ones with the weapons?
Yes, and they are, and they don't necessarily have the power. Look, when in February, when Moise extended his mandate illegally, according to every measure, the grassroots actually came together, the opposition parties came together and actually named a transitional government. They were ready to say, we need to stop all of this. All these people that are there are usurpers, and they need to be gone, and we have a way forward. They've never had a chance to continue. So even Famille Lavalas released this term called salut public, which means a complete restarting of the Haitian political process. They've not had the chance to do any of that, because what Biden did, the first thing he did to say about Haiti was affirm Moise's mandate. This is what Secretary Blinken said, right when he got into power. Now, the U.S. thinks that they can paper over this with elections, because they think by having these elections, they will say, well, we help assert democracy in Haiti. Let's know that the last few elections in Haiti have not been democratic elections. They've been run by the OAS, right, which is part of the core group which runs Haiti. And everyone in Haiti sees that the entire political system is corrupt, has been handpicked by the international community, from Moise to Claude Joseph to Léon Charles, all of that. So all the Haitian civil society have been saying, we cannot have elections under these terms. And so if the US government thinks they're going to force elections on Haiti, they're going to have protests in there, a lot of protests, like they were protested back in March against these elections, because these elections are considered fraudulent, because they're coming from a place that's completely illegal and unethical. And so what remains to be seen is the repression that's going to come when people start protesting against these fraudulent elections. And that's when you'll see the US send troops. And I can see, I'm worried about that, because no one is listening to what people on the ground are saying, what civil society is saying. And what civil society is saying is no US meddling, no UN intervention. They want these foreigners out of their country, and they want to have control of their own sovereignty. And no one is listening to that part of the story.
Give out a website, Jemima, for your organization, the Black Alliance for Peace.
Yes, you can go to blackallianceforpeace.com/Haiti. We have a lot of resources on Haiti. We have fact sheets on the UN, the US, the core group. We have historical things on Haiti, and it would be wonderful for you all to check it out, because I do think we've been, we put out a press release actually the day before Moise was assassinated about the rise in gang violence. And then we put one out right after, affirming our call against intervention. And so our Black Alliance for Peace Haiti page is a really good place to start, really to contextualize really the craziness that is being reported right now in Haiti.
We'll put a link to that from our website as well. Jemima, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thanks so much, Sonali, for having me.
My guest has been Jemima Pierre. She is the Haiti Americas coordinator for the Black Alliance for Peace. We've been discussing the assassination of President Jovenel Möise in Haiti and the U.S.'s role. I'm Sonali Kolhatkar. Our website is risingupwithsonali.com, where you can sign up for our newsletter and watch all of our video interviews. You can also find our audio podcast on iTunes and Spotify, and follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at RU with Sonali.